Howdy doody buckaroonies. Welcome back to another episode of Morning Coffee with Cameron. Today we're here for a nice and easy episode all about one of the best free synthesizers that money just can't buy. So today's video is on behalf of the fine folks at the Surge Synth team who have asked me to show you around the new 1.8 update for Surge, which is one of the most significant updates to Surge in quite some time and marks a pretty big chapter in the future of Surge. The Surge Synth team thinks that they'll be doing a relatively major update for Surge every 6 months or so going forward, and there are a lot of really exciting features on the roadmap, but 1.8 lays down a lot of the groundwork and a couple really cool new things that make Surge better than it's ever been before. If you don't already have Surge, you can pick that up with the link down in the description below. It is absolutely worth checking out and absolutely worth the low investment of exactly $0. It's a great synth to get started with if you haven't really used synths before and aren't really super familiar, and is also a deeply powerful synthesizer if you are pretty well versed in synthesis and sound design to explore some fun and interesting patch possibilities. Surge is not only free, but it's actually also fully open source, so if you know about DSP or sound design or graphics or web design or anything like that and would like to help contribute to make Surge better for everyone, you can absolutely do so, and if you want to do that, you can join the official Surge Discord with the link down in the description below, and even if you don't know about any of this stuff but want to hang out with some generally cool people and meet the minds behind the madness, you can join the Discord as well. And on the 1.8th day, the Lord said, "Let there be Surge version 1.8. So this is Surge 1.8 featuring my super fancy pants Venus Theory skin. If you want to download this, by the way, you can find that with the link in the description. So Surge 1.8 brings a lot of cool new things, and in this video we're going to explore some of the features. This isn't really a sound demo of Surge because that's not really what we're here to talk about, but we will be showing off some of the new capabilities with some of the new effects and filters. So let's dive into it. So Surge has filters. Surge has two filters, in fact. You can see them with filter 1 and filter 2, but Surge 1.8 actually added some new filter types. So we've got in the low pass, high pass, band pass, notch effect, etc. We've got the original Surge filters, but now we get a vintage ladder filter modeled after a certain famous Moog synthesizer. I don't know if I can say that, but whatever. We've got OBXD filters, which is another great free synthesizer, and some filters from Odin, which is another really great, excellent open source free synth. So to demonstrate these new filters, I just wanted to do kind of a quick resonant filter sweep. So this is the original Surge filter, which is a 24 decibel per octave filter. So we're just going to do a low pass filter sweep with a bit of resonance just so you can get an idea of what this sounds like. So here is the original Surge filter. So not really bad by any means, maybe just not the most exciting, but check out the new vintage filter. Which definitely sounds and feels a lot more like something you would hear in a classic analog synth. Let's quickly do the OBXD filters. We got 12 decibel per octave here. We'll just bump up the resonance a bit more. And I think this is just an incredibly fat sounding filter, and with like some big chords, it just sounds excellent. Let's check out the 24 decibel per octave OBXD filter and move on. So another really nice, thick, meaty sounding filter. I think the OBXD ones are probably my favorite, but Surge has got lots of excellent filters to play with, including some weird, wild stuff that is a lot of fun to explore. One of the other pretty significant updates to Surge is actually the mod matrix, which got a pretty big overhaul and some really cool new features. We've got new things like random, alternate, we have some MIDI-based modifiers, which is kind of a interesting thing that I don't know that I've seen all that much of in synthesizers. So some of these like lowest key and highest key can be a really interesting way to start expanding your patches, especially once you start to consider that Surge also supports MPE. You can get some really interesting, very expressive patches just by assigning a couple modifiers to a couple things. One of the biggest updates, though, to the mod matrix, I think, is the new MSEG. So if we go here, we've got LFO1, we can switch down to this, which allows us to access the new MSEG features. So let's assign this just to the filter cutoff here. I'm going to change this back to the OBXD filter, and we'll just make this unipolar for now. So if we give this a play, we've now got an MSEG that we can mess with. We can hit this pencil icon to dive in here, and of course, draw in all sorts of weird points and stuff. Let's just do something a bit more spicy, and we can set our loop points here with these flags. So let's maybe just change this a little bit and speed up the rate slightly. And now we've got this really complex LFO MSEG thing. But one of the really cool features of this MSEG editor is the ability to tweak the curves beyond normally what you could do. Now, as you would expect, you can change the tension of the curve, but if you right click, you get some interesting options. Sine here, for example, we get a sine wave curve, and we can tweak the frequency of that sine wave by scrolling up and down. So we can get these really ridiculous. Let's maybe slow that down so it's a bit more audible. Some really interesting possibilities with that. There's also bump, which is kind of like a weird warped curve. Stairs, which allows you to create kind of a stepped sample and hold-ish effect almost. You can change the resolution. So actually a pretty deep and powerful MSEG editor, which is a lot of fun to explore. You can lose a lot of time just fine-tuning this in a lot of interesting ways, but a very cool, very fun feature. With all these new modulators and updates, things can maybe get a bit hectic and crazy and might be a little convoluted at times to understand all of the possibilities, but Surge actually has really excellent documentation. So if you want to explore some of these new features and learn more in detail how to use them and what they're capable of, or just how they work in general, you can right click on almost any parameter in Surge and click the question mark, and that will directly open the documentation and take you to whatever it is you need to see. And Surge has really, really excellent documentation, which I think is something that's often a little bit overlooked, especially on the freeware side of things. But the Surge Synth team put a lot of love and thought into this to really thoroughly explain how things work, why they work, and also just what you can do with them. Another really cool part of this new update, if you go to the oscillators and switch to wavetable mode and go to the available wavetables and scroll down a bit, you'll see a bunch of new wavetables from a very specific and super handsome and awesome and talented and consecutive winner of best looking person in my house for 27 years and running wavetable stuff. I made a bunch of new wavetables for Surge, so you can try these out and explore some wavetables made with my Blofeld, the Novation Peak, some cool FME tables, a bunch of growl things, really interesting chaotic analog sampled waveforms, and a lot of other cool stuff. So there are a bunch of new wavetables, and I think in the future there are plans for a lot more presets and content. But one of the great things about Surge is because it's free and because so many people use it, there are a gajillion presets, wavetables, and additional bits of content out there for you to explore. Now, all of that alone is really exciting and I think would have made people happy, but there's even more to explore in 1.8, and I think one of the other big landmark things is the new effects section. Over here, you'll see that there are now Air Windows plugins because the Surge Synth team have adapted 50 of the Air Windows effects right into Surge. If you don't know about Air Windows, you should really go check out the Air Windows plugins. They're absolutely free. I believe they're all open source now, and they're actually some really solid plugins all around. I think 2Tape, the console one, and the de-esser actually are probably some of the best plugins you can own, and they're absolutely free. There are tons of things to explore in the Air Windows effects, and obviously for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through each and every one of them here, but you can check out more information on the manual and on the Air Windows website. But there's things like reverbs, we have clippers, dynamics, filters, lo-fi, which are like crunchy, crappy effects that are a lot of fun, noise, saturation, and even tape effects. So you can get 2Tape here, which I think is one of the best Air Windows effects, and bring that right into Surge. So we can take this sound and really fatten it up. And being able to do that in a synth is really, really cool, I think. And the Air Windows effects add a lot of tonal possibilities to Surge that really take it above and beyond some of the other free competition out there. One of the other nice new updates to the effects section is actually the ability to drag and drop. So instead of having to go in here and click and then select something and then change things around, you can actually reorder these effects on the fly. So we could change out the chorus to be the last effect here. We could move the delay earlier. We could move the chorus to be ascend. We could add this Air Windows as ascend. We could add the delay to B. We could then move the Air Windows thing to the post effects. And I think you get the idea. And that's a really nice workflow enhancement that makes the effects section in Surge a lot more usable and a lot easier to experiment with, because sometimes changing the order of the effects can have a pretty significant impact on the final sound. So being able to do something like that very quickly is really nice. Surge 1.8 also adds a couple of new skins. So the original dark skin has been overhauled a bit and refined. So the spacing and some of the little minute details have been overhauled. And there's also a really cool new skin, which is the Royal Surge skin, which really entirely changes the look and feel of Surge in a very pleasing way. And of course, like I mentioned, if you want to check out my super sick Venus Theory skin, you can find the link for that down below. So that is a brief look at all of the new stuff in Surge 1.8. There's other stuff as well, so if you want to check out all the gory details, you can check the changelog. And again, if you do not have Surge, now is the time to go download it. In fact, there has never been a better time to download Surge, because 1.8 is a pretty great update, and I'm very excited for the future of Surge because there are some really cool plans in store. So I think that wraps everything up for this one. Surge 1.8 is available right now. You should go check it out. There has never been a better time to get into Surge, and if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Surge news and all that, or even contribute to the development of future versions of Surge, you can find the official Surge Discord server linked down in the description below. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and of course, a big personal thank you to the Surge Synth team for creating, developing, and maintaining this project. I think that the fact that open source software that's this good even exists is just awesome, and it's really cool that something like this is available for free, enabling anyone to create with professional quality tools at the investment of absolutely nothing. I think that's just super, super awesome and really, really cool to see. So that does it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys again soon.